So you must be either having a losing streak, having a hard time in your game, or wanting to improve in Dota. That's why this video shows up in your feed. So today we're going to talk about the top 10 tips on how to get good at Dota 2. Tip number 1. The earliest advantage you can get in the lane is the moment either side hit their level 2 first, which is why it is important to secure the range creep as it gives you a chunk of EXP. Tip number 2. Stack your spells. So this mostly focuses on the early laning stage and how to get advantage in the laning stage consistently. So the steps are simple, and that is to always try to follow up a spell and keep aware of your support or carry's positioning and whether they are in range to cast spells, allowing you to secure kills easily. Tip number 3. Always buy sentries to block camps. So for all the new players, the most standard move with 100% rate as a support is definitely buying sentries to block the enemy's pool camp at the start of the game. As your carry and offlane jobs is to fight for last hits on creeps, your battle on the support is directed towards fighting and blocking over your small and big camps. If either sides are able to make the pool, they are able to deny creeps and change the course of the lane. So tip number 4. Red zone. This is a very secret trick that even high immortal MMR players struggle in their ranked games. The trick is simple, just look at these two flags in both lanes. And make sure to think about playing in the area twice, as that is a carry's weak spot and best chance for the offlaner to kill you. Tip number 5. Practice looking at a map consistently. So this is a very basic skill that every mobile players out there must develop as they play the game. One of the most common traits for core players are to always look at a map after you secure a creep. The reason why the map is so important is due to the very valuable information such as rotations from enemy mid, power rune, and whether you are getting smoke ganked. Tip number 6. Getting objective after a team fight or kill. So a lot of you might have made cool plays into killing the enemy, but what you do afterwards is just as important as your enemies are on their death timers. Try to get as much of the enemy's death as possible, such as taking tower or Roshan. But if they seem to be too close to reviving or ready to fight, you can instead choose to clear the nearby jungle camps to be efficient with the timing. And by the time the enemy TP'd in, the creeps are still spawning. And tip number 7. Safe lane tier 1 tower is easy to get and important. Here's why. So the easiest tower to get in the game is a safe lane tier 1 tower for both Radiant and Dire side. So it's most likely your first big fight will be around that area. But why is the tower so important? So unlocking the tower actually gives you space to the enemy jungle, which provides small, medium and large camps, which is easy to clear when you're around level 6 to 8. On the other hand, you do not go for the offlane tower as the merit for it is just not as sweet. Destroying the offlane tower first will give you access to the ancient camps, which is not really suitable for the early levels as you need at least a Maelstrom or better Fury. Tip number 8. Wisdom Rune. So this tip is pretty simple, and that is always be ready to take your Wisdom Rune at the 7-minute mark. It is usually taken by supports as it boosts your 2 lowest level player in your team. Doing this is actually impactful as it helps your support reach your level 6 quicker. And by doing so, you will be able to make more plays with your ultimates. And so here comes tip number 9. Smoke with your team. So I'm sure you see in a lot of pro games, they start their fight while smoked as 5. But how exactly do you actually initiate your smoke with your team? The easiest cue to know the right time to smoke is pretty simple, and that is based off these 3 things. And that is spells, a new item on your teammate, or when your team is holding the Aegis and needs to make use of it. And so here comes to our last tip, the high ground. Did you know that most of the game that are thrown is the moment you hit the high ground unprepared? The perfect time to actually consistently siege the high ground is pretty simple, and that is getting the Aegis. With the Aegis, you are essentially going high ground with an extra life, which means that there are more rooms for mistake, and you can also bait the Aegis carrier for better timing for initiation. So if you are ever ahead of the game, you definitely want to guarantee the win by getting the Aegis and root for a 6v5 situation at high ground. That's all today on the top 10 tips on how to get good at Dota 2. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.